I think when the statement, "I am God" or "we are God" is said, it's rejected by so many because everyone has their own perception of who or what God is. Depending on how you grew up and what you were taught, over time you have slowly and unconsciously created this imagine or belief of what God is. If you come from a religious background, you go by what your book says God is usually. But regardless of what you read or hear, no mental creation of God is God, because the mind cannot comprehend what God is. The mind doesn't know you because you are above it. It cannot imagine it, nor can it create it. We hear people say, "I can't imagine a God who would allow this to happen." And yea, it's true, you can't. God isn't a man in the sky waiting for you to die so he can judge you. You are God. We are all God as one. And please just allow me to explain the unexplainable the best way I can. And when I say you are God, I'm not referring to a human. I'm not referring to who you think you are. I'm saying you as in consciousness, as in awareness, because that's what you truly are. Two things you also cannot imagine or create. Those are also just meaningless labels to point you to what you truly are. I see comments that say, "Well, if I'm God, why can't I do this or do that?" Well, first, you are God having a human experience. So there are limits. God is having a dog experience. A dog's not able to speak English. You are limited to some extent depending on the avatar you are experiencing. Just like in a game, if you choose to be a water bender, you won't be capable of being a fire bender. I also constantly see, if we are God, why are babies getting killed and violence is still happening? And once again, you are using your perception and mental creation of what God is. You are saying the God you created in your mind wouldn't allow those things, which is clearly false because these things unfortunately happen. We also cannot underestimate the ego and its power. Yes, most violence comes from the ego. It comes from those beings who are unconscious of their consciousness. I'm not religious anymore, but the Bible has so many great teachings of consciousness. I say that to say an example of this was when Jesus was on the cross. That whole story explains violence and the ego, and also the unconditional love of what you truly are. While Jesus was on the cross, he asked God to forgive everyone, simply because he knew they were unconscious of what they all truly are. He knew they were operating from pure ego, aka the devil. During his crucifixion, according to Scripture, he says, "Father, forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing." They were unconscious of their consciousness. If they all knew what they truly were as God, they would have realized that they are also everyone and everything. They would have realized that they are also Jesus, and that event would have never happened. When you come to the realization of oneness, things like violence and hate, etc., there's no space for it anymore, because even behind appearances and personalities and egos, you see yourself. You no longer see others, you just see yourself everywhere. Because you are everything and everyone. And once again, I'm not speaking to your character that has been created by ego. If your name is Jack, I'm not saying Jack is God. God is God, and Jack truly doesn't exist. Jack is just a story of the mind. It's just a character. Speaking of religion, though, I like to say that all religion is talking about your true nature. It's just that you have been led to believe that this God they are talking about is something separate from you. It's been taught in a way in making you believe separation exists, which is obviously keeping you away from the realization of oneness. You have to see how religion creates separation. Has it helped people live positive and loving lives? Yes, of course, and that's wonderful. But specifically for this video, and because in trying to point people to truth, religion is taught to us in a way that's very misleading. No disrespect to anyone who has strong religious beliefs, but at least be curious to why I say what I say. When I say you are God, some even say, "How am I God? I didn't create the world and the universe, God did." Well, if I am saying you are God, then yes, you did. Because you are God, you created all of this. It's just that when you say I, you are referring to who you think you are, not to what you truly are. We all say I when we are talking about ourselves. Well, who is this I? We say, I love myself, implying that there is a duality, the I and the myself. And how is it that if everything could speak, including animals, they would also say I when it came to describing themselves? There's only one I. Notice how the I is very big in society. When it comes to symbolism, they use it everywhere for a reason. It's right in your face. What I is truly referring to is our true nature, as God, as one. We aren't individuals gods. There's only one God, and it's what we all truly are. The only thing that's truly here is God, is you. So how can you come to this realization of what we truly are? Well, first, don't believe anything I say. If you want to know God, there's no need for belief. With belief, there is doubt. You can truly know God. The moment you know yourself for what you truly are, you will know God. Also, if you have been on this journey of self-realization for a long time, it's time to stop seeking. You have so much knowledge already. And honestly, too much of a good thing can be bad. Knowledge means nothing when it comes to realizing yourself, because this realization isn't mental. It's not found through a concept. What you are looking for is already here. You are what you seek. You've been looking from it your whole experience. You see, when you continue to seek and seek and seek for years, book after book, video after video, you start to believe that there is a destination to get to. You begin to feel like you're so close to achieving something, and trust me, people have felt that feeling of I'm almost there for decades. And it's because they haven't realized that what they are looking for is already here. Isn't that amazing to know? You don't have to go anywhere. There's nowhere to go. Once you begin to realize your true nature, you'll see that it's something already here. You just have to realize it. You have to constantly see that it's not you that wants more knowledge and information. It's the ego. It's not you that has all of these beliefs. It's just a collection of thoughts arising from the mind. When you can sit with that seeking feeling long enough, that's when true transformation begins. It's funny how we start this journey just to realize we have to give it up at some point. The moment you stop trying, though, that's when everything begins to get clear. You'll see you had the answers this whole time. You'll begin to see for yourself everything I've been trying to get so many of you to see. You'll see and experience. I say you are not the body and the mind. You'll begin to understand why so many have came to the realization of oneness and that powerful statement of, I am God. You'll see why I say let go of beliefs, because you can truly know. You truly have to see this for yourself. It's why I stress the saying, don't believe any spiritual teacher. Prove it to yourself. Don't listen to the mind when it says, I am God or I am not my thoughts, etc. Okay, but can you truly see that? Can you experience what it's pointing to? See it for yourself without running to the mind for confirmation. Does this take time? Well, what you are is truly already awakened. It's more the body that is going through the transformation. It's the body that has to get rid of that stuck energy to allow the new energy to flow. So yes, it takes time for the body to integrate, but you can realize yourself right now. If the mind would like to look more into this topic, just do research of the nature of consciousness. I know I said stop seeking, but that was for those who have all the knowledge, but aren't experiencing what their knowledge is pointing to. Look more into self-inquiry, and you can even read the Bible, but read it as if it was a book about you. And this isn't work to build up your ego. This isn't for you to feel better than anyone else. We are all one. This isn't for Jack, it's for you, as in consciousness. To know more about your nature, see if you can catch all the metaphors that are truly all just pointers for you to realize you are Christ consciousness. I'll leave some in the comments, and I'd appreciate if some of you quoted some scriptures and explained what it was truly pointing to. Peace and love to you all.